Episode 743. Things had spiraled into chaos. Now, with Tian Nanxing shamelessly cursing up a storm, the guild leaders had no choice but to keep up the pretense, didn't they? These things are fine to do in the shadows, but dragging them out into the open makes things a lot trickier. Because not everyone is dirty. The Jia dynasty, Samsara, Blue Brook Pavilion, they weren't involved, were they? Suddenly exposing everything, posting proof as evidence, it really became a joke. Everyone had egg on their face. How could that possibly work? So the guild leaders all jumped in to say,
"What are you saying?" "We were all just trying to keep the boss from getting stolen, helping to chase it down."
Then how come all my people are dead? Did they trip into a pit and break their necks?
Dominating Hero, 100 Blossoms, Misty Rain. Care to explain yourselves?
Tian Yanxing replied that their 4 members had been confirmed killed by these 3 guilds. As for 100 Blossoms and Misty Rain, neither said a word, but from unrivaled dominance, Zhang Yu replied,
"An explanation. I should be the one asking you for one."
Explain my ass.
Tiananxing said.
Backstab, Tiger Seal. Those 2 trash. No idea which guild they belong to, but I suggest we take them out.
Zhang Yu said as much, but his gaze had already shifted to the people from 100 Blossoms Valley and Misty Rain Pavilion. The guild leaders of both factions, Hua Kai Kanja and Misty Rain Suolu, were both taken aback. It was true that both guilds had killed a member of the Grass Hall, but the problem was, they hadn't used the names Backstab and Tiger Seal when they did it.
Who are these 2 losers? What's that got to do with me?
Tiananxing was a bit baffled. Why did Zhang Yu suddenly say that?
What's it to you? Are you talking out of your ass?
Zhang Yu figured Tiananxing had already kicked those 2 out of the guild, so he was ready to talk tough. But when he asked the mole, it turned out they were still sitting pretty on the Zhongkaotong member list, and online no less. Could Tian Nanxing's face skill really have been boosted by a cheat code? How thick can it get?
What's going on?
Tiananxing suddenly realized something was off. He pulled up the guild roster, searched, and sure enough, found those 2 in his own guild. But he was absolutely certain they hadn't been among the 4 he'd sent out.
Everyone, what are you all chatting about?
Just then, Chun Yilao of the Blue Brook Guild suddenly spoke up, his tone cutting through the air without warning. Chun Yilao let out a cold laugh, and with the herbal hall and tyrannical ambition already sensing something was off, the others quickly realized it too. This was bad, very bad.
Have you all forgotten something?
Spring Intent asked. The guild leaders broke out in a cold sweat. Of course they had forgotten. All the guild leaders huddled together, exchanged intel, and then were filled with bitter regret. Why hadn't they done this sooner? The Venom Fang Swamp was crawling with players who were supposedly part of their guilds, yet none of them had been sent by the guild leaders themselves. And clearly these interlopers were the ones destined to win this hunt. The reason was simple. They had the numbers. After the guild leaders finished their tally, they realized with a jolt that every single face they'd seen belonged to one of their 5 guilds, not a single outsider. And it was clearly a coordinated ambush, using their own infighting as cover to systematically hunt down every last hunter they'd sent into the swamp.
Send reinforcements. Who still has people left?
Tiananxing quickly called out. Everyone he had sent was already dead, and he had completely lost all intelligence from the front lines.
I still have people on my end.
Zhang Yu replied while preparing to send the list to the dispatched players, telling them to keep an eye out. But before Zhang Yu could even finish typing out the names one by one, the last surviving member of their tyrannical dominance guild sent a regretful message. He was dead. Then the stragglers from Misty Rain, Shattered Void, and 100 Blossoms guilds couldn't hold out any longer either, sending in their own reports of being wiped out. And with that, the players sent by all 5 guilds had made the ultimate sacrifice. This meant all trace of the Marsh Hunter rep was now completely lost. The other side clearly wasn't going to keep the boss waiting at the spot where it was last seen, just for them to come knocking.
"You 2 still fighting? Someone's already made off with the boss."
The guild leaders were already feeling sour, and seeing Samsara and Jia Wangchao still brawling, they figured they might as well make sure those two didn't get off easy either. Logically, this boss should have belonged to those two guilds, so shouldn't they be the ones suffering the most now that someone's stolen it?
We're not fighting for the boss. We're fighting for pride.
But then, an ordinary member of Samsara turned back, shot back that cold reply, and immediately threw himself back into the frenzied battle.
Screw it, Samsara. Go crazy on your own. We're out.
The Jia dynasty, who had been provoked by Samsara in the first place, suddenly regained their senses after overhearing the neighboring guilds' exchange. This chaotic free-for-all was pointless, so while tossing out face-saving remarks, they directed their guild members to gather the dropped gear, clearly signaling a withdrawal and retreat. Samsara had already clashed with both Bluebrook Guild and Jiegang Guild, two of the major powers, and their losses were severe. If they kept fighting, Jiegang might actually have the upper hand. But Samsara had no desire to prolong this meaningless attrition, so they were the first to pull back. The other guilds were just itching for a show, practically praying that Samsara and the Jia dynasty would tear into each other and turn the entire heavenly domain into a loot piñata. Under normal circumstances, something like this was highly unlikely. But today, Samsara's crew seemed to have their brains on fire. Who knew what mindless stunt they'd pull at a time like this? Jai dynasty wasn't losing yet, but everyone with sense had already backed down. If Samsara still refused to let it go, what kind of scene would that be? With that hope in mind, the guild leaders almost forgot the sting of losing the boss. If losing one boss meant these two club guilds would tear each other apart, then it was a loss well worth taking. But today was clearly not their lucky day. Just when they hoped Samsara Guild would lose its cool, Samsara went and got rational again. Seeing that Jia dynasty was also pulling back, their people eased off the pressure, just going through the motions to keep up appearances. The Jia dynasty side, getting the hint, chose not to make a fuss. They simply gathered up the equipment their own members had dropped on the ground. As for Samsara, they had dropped plenty of gear too, but the Jia dynasty tactfully refrained from scooping up those easy pickings.
Everyone, the Jia dynasty will take our leave for today, but this matter isn't over yet.
With that, the Jia dynasty contingent turned to leave, but their guild leader, Chen Yehui, coldly tossed out one last remark before leading his men away without looking back.
Explanation.
What the hell kind of explanation could there be?
The guild leaders were all bristling with indignation. They'd planned to send more men into the swamp to track the boss's whereabouts, but now that urge had completely fizzled out. With that public post as evidence, someone could easily seize the opportunity to make a big deal out of it. As for the guilds that had already lost, it was best they didn't touch this boss.
Shit's just a marsh hunter rip. Like it's anything special. We lost, so whoever kills the boss, kills the boss.
Tian and Xing from the herbal hall tossed out a similar remark, indifferent, telling everyone to back off. These guilds were all in the same boat. They each tossed out a few face-saving remarks, and then, Swamp Hunter Rip, they just stopped acknowledging each other entirely. In the end, only the Blue Brook Guild and Samsara Guild remained. Spring Intent Old and Three Realms Six Paths stood at the head of their respective teams, facing off against each other in silence.